Good morning. Happy Friday. Thank God it's Friday. So I am going live a little early today because I am heading out to a family wedding in a couple of hours. And next week, if you've been following, next week our lives will be at 5 o'clock Eastern time each day. So welcome, welcome. Today we're talking about how to be the CEO of your divorce. And I had a member reach out and say, my attorney's bullying me. They're not listening to me. And I feel abused even again. And so I'm not going to talk so much today about how to vet an attorney, although I did speak about that. And you might want to check out that live if that's of interest to you. But today I want to talk about how intimidating it is to step into divorce and then to uh, the danger of handing your power over to your attorney as opposed to partnering with them. And so I really like the concept of the CEO of your divorce because it does a couple of things. One, in such an emotionally charged time, it really invites the pivot to being businesslike. And while there's a ton of emotion in divorce, at the core of the legal process, you're really divvying up assets, finances, and time with the kids. And so being the CEO of your divorce and having like putting on the boss hat. So you may hire over the course of time. I know for me, I hired my attorney, I hired my therapist, I hired an attorney for the children. We ended up hiring a custodial forensic, a psychological forensic for our custody battle. And all of these people are professionals, and I'm like completely overwhelmed in emotion. And yet, if I could put my business hat on, I really have a staff that I'm managing. We have plans, we have a goal. And so that's really what I'm inviting you to put on your boss hat when vetting, when hiring, when interacting with your attorney. So one of the things that I hear, even from the attorneys that I recommend the most, is they might not get back, or they don't answer all of your questions. And then you may feel like, I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to spend the extra money. Maybe I should have understood. And so if you put the boss hat on, it's like, well, I asked a question. I need a clearer answer. I want to understand what our strategy is. And a great vetting question, of course, is, what is your process for getting back to clients when they reach out to you? I have one attorney in New York City. Anytime you reach out, there's an immediate response that'll say she's in court or what have you. And she will at least reply to everyone, even if it's just to say, I'm in the middle of a trial and I need 24 hours. And so that is an expectation that you can have. That is something that you can, a conversation that you can have with your attorney or with any of the other people that you're working with. And so when you do that, you take your power back, right? So you become, and when you can tamp down your emotions, which is a topic for another day, you can partner with those people and you can become very strategic. And here's the deal. This is your future. And no matter how good your attorney is, and no matter what they've told you, if they're your children, it's your future. And you want to be fully invested, and you don't want to be doing it from a place of intimidation or self-doubt. You want to be doing it from a place of being the project manager or the CEO. And so I want you to also notice your tendency to project. And this is something a lot of attorneys talk to me about, that they become the bad guy in the relationship with their client. And there's a lot of projection of your mistrust, your anger, your fear, your assumptions onto the attorney. I'll give you one example. I had, I would say, probably a half a dozen times this conversation where a client found out that their attorney is friends with their spouse's attorney. And it's really understandable and easy to create a story that because they're buddies, because them and their spouses go out to dinner, because they socialize, that somehow undercuts their ability to advocate for you, when in fact quite the opposite may be true, right? They have respect for each other. And attorneys don't take any good attorney is not taking any divorce personally. They'll get fired up, they'll be passionate, but at the end of the day, it's not their life, and they do this 5 days a week. And so if you're projecting some assumption, some story onto your attorney, and especially if it's a story that doesn't serve you well, have the conversation. And it brings up, how do I have a conversation well? And that's communication skills. And maybe I'll add that as one of my topics to talk about. But when you have the conversation, not from accusing, not putting the other person on defensive, but that conversation might sound something like, I've found out that you and my spouse's attorney are friends, and it's raised a lot of concerns for me, and I want to talk through those concerns with you. And then you have the conversation as the boss, as the CEO. You're listening, you're understanding, and then you're making a request. You're asking something. And so you're so involved and empowered, and the attorney is going to so appreciate that, because for them, having someone who shows up and partners and strategizes and makes suggestions and asks questions and pushes back a little bit, a good matrimonial attorney knows that nuance about your spouse. You may have information that you don't even know you have. And the more open and flowing and fluid you are in engaging in those conversations and those strategies, the more you can help them help you, if that makes sense. Most attorneys, at the end of the day, they are looking to do their best. This is what they do. And so while they know that people are pretty displeased, in fact, a good settlement means everyone walks away just a little bit unhappy. They want referrals. They want you to send their friends. And so their desire is really to do the best that they can for you. Having said all of that, I'm just going to wrap up with, if you're listening and your attorney isn't any of these things, if you feel bullied, if you feel shut down, if you feel ignored, if in fact you have factually, not your story, but factually, a number of experiences of, I'm chasing you down. I sent you an email a week ago. I asked you a question. You told me a story about an old client that doesn't help me. If you are in any of those situations, while it is never good to change attorneys multiple times, unless you're at the end stages, if you're in a really difficult situation and you feel sandwiched between a bad attorney and a spouse who might be a big personality or difficult or toxic, you definitely want to consider changing. And the best way to consider changing is to reach out to someone like me, who can get you a couple of names of good attorneys, and have a consult and go to that attorney, not bashing your attorney, because that's not going to work well, but laying out your experience and where your concerns are, and use a second consult as a sounding board. And while it'll cost you whatever it costs for their hourly wage, either it's going to bring you comfort that you're okay where you are and you just need to tweak your communication, or it's going to make you realize, and I've had clients do this, where they've walked out of a consult and they're like, oh my God, I feel like I've been trying to be the one to run my divorce because of this attorney that was kind of checked out. And I have this consult, and like in 1 hour, I felt so supported. I understood better. And so give yourself the gift of that if you're in a difficult situation. Bottom line, being the CEO of your divorce means that you're the boss. You're paying these people very big money. It's your future. You're more invested in your future than anyone else will be. You want to stay on top of it. You want to be a squeaky wheel. You want to raise concerns when you have them. You want to thank them and acknowledge and celebrate them when they do well for you. They're human beings. The more positive acknowledgement, the better that will go. And if it's a shit show, if you're feeling like I really made a bad decision, reach out. Let me or somebody else that you know get you some recommendations based on your situation, not like generic recommendations, and do a consult and see if that doesn't bring some clarity to you. So I'm going away to a family wedding this weekend. I've decided in my 21-day live that there will be no weekend lives. And so I will see you again Monday, and it will not be Monday morning at 8. It will not be Monday at 11:30. We're now moving to 5 p.m. Eastern time. So mark your calendar, join me. And of course, if you have a topic that you want to hear about, just shoot me. You can drop it in the comments, absolutely. Or you can shoot me an email at info at journeybeyonddivorce.com. And have a beautiful weekend. I'll see you Monday.